Hey guys, just thought I'd do a quick talk about this video I was watching on YouTube today, this morning. Don't know if anyone's listening or anyone's participating, but I'll do a talk about it anyway. Hopefully people are listening. Hope you enjoy the show. But yeah, I'm thinking I might do some videos where I am talking about these things. I don't want to seem like a wannabe. Um, I forget what it's called now. Think Like a Horse, channel. Because obviously I do know a guy that is on YouTube. I don't know how to hide this, guys. So you just have to ignore my random interest, I suppose, until I figure a way of hiding it. But yeah, like I was saying, just doing a rant about this video. Some of it is to give constructive criticism. Some of it is to explain what I agree with, what I don't agree with as a horseman myself. Always makes me laugh when people do these aggression videos, So far, I've only saw one form of aggression so far with this horse, but then I have to question, why it was aggressive, and this is why I like the guy who does Think Like a Horse, because obviously he does explain why the horse is acting up the way it is. Right, so we're going to go back to where they're training the horse, because I'm not doing the entire video, because obviously, as you can see, this is 24 minutes long, and there's a lot of introduction and blabbering, and to me, it is unnecessary. I don't know what they're doing at that point there, whether they're doing anything with the horses or not. But obviously, this is really the part that you really want to be focusing on, which is where the horse is in the stall. And obviously, as you can see, food aggression, what it is about is this horse is having issues when it comes to feeding. See, I don't know what this is here, but that looks dangerous to me, to be quite fair. Hanging things like that, I don't think that is very wise at the end of the day, but that's my opinion. Again, constructive criticism, but yeah, things like that, I don't even know what this actually is for, but it doesn't look good to me. So, and I could be poorly educated and not have a clue what that actually is. Someone might tell me, oh, well, that's for tying up the horse or whatever. We don't do this in our stalls. I don't get what this is. It looks like cables to me. It doesn't look safe. But whatever, I digress. That's my opinion. So let's get on with the video, and I'll pause it where I feel I need to comment and obviously give my views. Okay, so let's go.
So what I'd like to do actually is give her some grain. That's okay. Probably quite a bit, so we can not a lot, a pound of it or something, so that we can more than a handful. So that we can
see that does look, that's cables. That's cables.
We're just gonna go a little slower.
It doesn't look safe. That's cables.
It was good that she had more room to move, but now we're gonna ask her to stand at the back of the stall when we put feed in. And actually, I'm gonna show you something kind of neat. Is there a way to put
see, actually, I'm going to just pause this for a minute. I'm going to crack on about this. These are cables, guys. Now that I can see it more clearly, these are cables. Please do not put your cables like this. Like, it's not safe for anybody. This is just stupid. Why in heck's name would anyone put their cables like this? This is dangerous, guys. That is hanging on whatever this freaking thing is. This looks like a strap to me that's holding on to the door. So that is hanging on to a strap that's holding on to a door which they actually use to open and close. This is not safe. Please don't do it. I don't understand why they've done this. This is stupid. You don't leave cables hanging like this, whether you're in a freaking horse stall or, whether you're anywhere else in the world. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. You don't hang cables like this, and especially around horses, guys. This is dangerously stupid at the end of the day. Please don't do it.
When you feed, is it in a scoop or a can or something?
Yeah, we have a
little metal can.
Well, plastic.
Okay. Is it noisy at all? Could it be noisy if you shake it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that set up. All right. So what happens normally at feeding time, and you can tell me if this is different here.
That looks nothing like a metal can. I just want to say that looks nothing like a metal can.
And we just fight with them. Hey, excuse me, get out of my way, and then we dump the grain and then we leave. And the whole time the horse is pushy and thinking about being aggressive. Now, if you get a horse that's as confident as she is, it can turn into aggression. And not because the horse is really wants to be dominant over people, just because she's just trying to get to the feed first. She's like, hey, the faster you leave here, the quicker I get to my feed. So it's not going to be as strong of a problem as it might appear based on her behavior in the past. It's more so been that she's been allowed to do it. So we're going to try to reverse that pattern. And what we're going to do is the new feeding time program is hopefully going to be shake the grain, and that means go back to the back. And so instead of shake the grain, and that means paw and make all kinds of ruckus at feeding time, the new pattern is when we shake the bucket, it means go stand at the back of the stall. How does that sound? Sound like a good plan? So I'm also switching tools now. I'm going to be using this stick and string. The reason I'm doing this is the flag might be a little bit bigger energy. That's good for open spaces like out in the pasture when you're trying to make big energy and cover a whole area. Here, I just want her to take like 3 steps over there. You know, I don't want her to get scared and run around that she can't get away from it. So I want to be a little more fair. So here we go. I'm going to open the gate here and I'm going to shake this.
Sorry to be going on about the cables again. I've just realised what one of these cables actually are for. It's for obviously a fan that is connected to the front. Nice that they're providing ventilation for the horses, but again, this is highly dangerous. This is a really stupid way of installing a fan. I get the idea. Perhaps they could have run it across the top, you know, the top of the stall. Sorry, I'm cracking on about this, and obviously we're supposed to be doing about the behaviour of the horse, but I'm just looking at this and like, they could have ran this across the top, guys, and threaded it down the side or something out of the way. Don't just hang it loose. Although it makes me laugh, I can see this runner here, and this has got the cable hanging here, so they've obviously thought about, you know, how to run the cables along, but they've not, like, why is this not all the way to the end and feeding this fan? I can't, mind you, then again, they probably won't open the door. Yeah, okay, forget that I said that, because think about it, they won't open the door that way. But why can't they, you know, connect it, I don't know, this point, or there's got to be a way, guys, where it's not hanging like this. This is my point, and it just makes me laugh when they got this tubing here, and I'm looking at this. I don't even know what that is. I think it's the runner for the door. But this is clearly a tube, and that's clearly a cable hanging out the tube. Perhaps this tube was meant for the door, but they decided to use it to put the cables through as well. So, obviously, I don't know. I digress, but obviously, this is dangerous. This is stupidly dangerous at the end of the day. But I digress. Let's get back to where he opens the stall door.
Her to get scared and run around that she can't get away from it. So I want to be a little more fair. So here we go.
See, because you see the cables moving.
Open the gate here.
The door moves the cables.
And drive her to the back. And then the feed gets quiet. So now she just licked and chewed. She got relief in the back of the stall, and it was from after shaking it. Okay, so now I want her to come back up.
So I'm going to pause there and obviously comment on this, because the licking and chewing thing, right, this has been a fad, in my opinion, for a long time since, what was it, Pat Pirelli was the one who started the licking and chewing thing. I can't remember if it's Monty Roberts or Pat Pirelli, but I have a feeling it was Pat Pirelli without checking it out first. Right, so licking and chewing as a behaviour is obviously a reaction from the horse when it is under pressure, when it is stressed. It's like when you get stressed out and you get a dry mouth, you're obviously going to, you know, to wet your mouth. It's the same thing with a horse. So people say, oh, it's licking and chewing, it's learned something. Whether or not it's learned something is completely irrelevant to that behaviour. You know, that horse may not have learned something. It obviously realises that it was under stress, and obviously now it's getting relief, and it might actually consider what was the cause of the stress and what was the cause of gaining relief. Obviously, this is how horses work. It's pressure and relief. Why they obviously lick and chew is because they're relieving their mouths from the fact that they were stressed. Like I said, it's near enough the same principle as with a human being. When you're stressed Even I just had to pause and swallow a bit of saliva there because I'm talking too much and not being able to process my saliva, which is the whole point. This is what it means when they're licking and chewing. And people are like, oh, well, it's learned something. That's why it's doing it. Horses don't have an action for learning things. To be honest, the only way you know a horse has learned is due to their reaction. If they'll back away when you want them to, if they don't back away when you want them to, that's when you'll know whether a horse has learned. Just because they're licking and chewing doesn't necessarily mean that they learned a damn thing. They might be considering it, they might be thinking about it, because they'll be thinking, oh, so this is what I need to do to relieve myself from stress. This is the correct answer. But you know what? They might not feel a need to relieve their saliva, the dryness of their mouth. They might not even feel a need for it. They might not be that stressed, but they don't. That doesn't mean they haven't learned anything from it. Obviously, this is a stressful thing for a horse when it comes to chasing them away with a crop or a whip. Needless to say, this guy does not beat the horse at this moment in time, but it's still, quite a stressful process for the horse to deal with. So therefore, saliva is going to be, either building up or not building up, depending. Obviously, as I said, dry mouth is quite likely the case, because the horse is getting stressed. That's what that is. Anyway, so we'll move on from that subject. But I just wanted to point it out because the amount of people that I hear, to me, it's nonsense. It makes me laugh that Pat Pirelli has started that fad, and it is a fad to me. It's a horse reaction to stress, like it's a human being's reaction to stress. When you get dry mouth, you want to drink, you want to get saliva flowing. That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. So, it's a load of nonsense, guys, about, they learned something. Not always the case.
She's got the idea here. Okay, so watch here again. So now she's, again, a little bit away from the back here. Watch. There, retreat. So she got a little bit claustrophobic there, but again, I had to just get her to understand to go to the back there. Now, the way this works is when I shake the grain, it becomes a cue.
Right, I'm just going to pause there again. See, she did not lick and chew that time, but she stands in the corner and she's looking at him. Obviously, she's looking at him for guidance. She's looking at him for leadership. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? Can I have the feed? Can I move? What do you want me to do? I'm looking at you for guidance. I'm looking at you, to see what you'll do to me if I move. But she did not lick and chew, which she's learning. And she's obviously getting the idea. One thing that I did find interesting, I did not pick up on this before, but now because I'm paying more attention to the video while I'm talking about it, if you see, I think it was here.
So she got a little bit claustrophobic there, but again, I had to just get her to understand to go to the back there. Now,
right, see, did you see that? Just as you said, she got a bit claustrophobic there. She had her head here, and it magically went down here. So therefore, for a few seconds maybe, there was a cutout between here and here. It makes you wonder what happened. I hate edited videos where it's so obvious, it's almost like a Matrix glitch. That's what I call it. It's like when, like in the Matrix where that cat is crossing the road and all of a sudden it's back where it started, and maybe they just had a glitch with recording the video, but, often you question, so what happened between, here and I can't even find it now, but where she had her head down,
a cue, right? And so you give them a cue, and then I reinforce it with a stick, and then she ends up there. Does that make sense? So then that kind of becomes the pattern. So start shaking it. Okay. And what we're waiting for is when you start to shake, she goes, am I supposed to be over here now? And then we know we're winning the game. You picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. So, well, we got to let her stand there for a minute. I don't want to bring her back and forth, back and forth. Now I'm going to draw her back in. Okay, give her a little shake. And you
See, another thing, although the stick actually does help because it's creating that draw, it's creating fear, which obviously fear can be a good tool to use, but not always necessary. If they could ask the horse to move back, while someone is shaking it like that, to me that is far better than just using a stick. If you can make your horse move, which you should be able to make your horse move, emphasis on should, because obviously if you can't, then yes, you may need a tool. But I've never needed tools, guys, to move my horses. My horses do as I ask them to. And not because I'm a brute, not because I show them who's boss. It's because, obviously, they cooperate with leadership and guidance. I am obviously directing them to where I want them to go. And once they've done it, I reward them, so that they understand, again, pressure and release. I may tap them on the chest, ask them to go back. I may even start to shove them back ever so lightly to make them understand, I want you to move, I'll make you move. But I never, obviously, use aggressive tools. It makes me laugh when they are dealing with a so-called aggressive horse, but they wish to use, in my opinion, aggressive tools like a whip, to correct them. As the saying goes, two wrongs don't make a right. And I'm not trying to say that they're wrong, because, like I said, if you can't make your horse move, you may need to use a tool. Even I will admit sometimes maybe I've had to resort to using tools, but I don't like to use them. I feel it is, it's aggressive and abusive, and it should be the last line of resort, really. Realistically, I feel that they should have been asking this horse to move from the get-go. Clearly this horse hasn't been, I don't know if I want to say well-trained, in my opinion, but, if that young lady can't make a horse move without the necessary tools, then I say that there is no relationship, there is no bonding, there is no training, obedience training, whatever. They said at the beginning that she was still young. I think they said she was 2 or 3 years old. So obviously she's at that age where she is, going to test, and she's going to probably even misbehave. In fact, there was one time I actually got kicked in the face by a 2-year-old because she was very similar to this, where she obviously was a bit pushy and aggressive at food time. And needless to say, when I dealt with her, I made her go back, I pushed her back, I got in her way. Basically it was like trying to tell her, this is mine and not yours, you wait over there until I give you that space to come to the food. I didn't get necessarily in her space, but I won't let her get in my space, which of course then she came at me because she didn't like it, and obviously reared up at me and kicked me right in the face, gave me a black eye. Needless to say, I had to stop right there because I ended up with a cut in my face and it was bleeding, so I had to go to hospital to have it checked out, what have you. But point being, young horses will challenge because they're looking for where they stand in the herd. When they get to the age of 2 and 3, they're in the juvenile stage where they are between, youngster and adulthood. It's like us when we get into our teens, and obviously that's when your hormones kick in. Same with the horses, they're going to start being a bit rebellious and start to challenge. Needless to say, you got to correct this and deal with it as best as you can. Again, it's like dealing with teenagers or a terrible 2-year-old, the terrible twos as they like to call it. When a child is going from toddler to infant and they go through that what we call the terrible twos stage, because obviously during that period they can walk but they can't talk, and obviously because they get frustrated that they can't necessarily, how do I put it, that they can't speak to you, they can't obviously tell you what they want, and they get frustrated, and they may even take it out on you. You know, they might get temper tantrums, they might even hit you, you know, because they think that you're not listening and you're not doing what they want, or they want something and you're telling them no, you know, and they can't understand why, and they get frustrated, or they might get upset. In fact, it could be the same thing when it comes to food. Like they might want to, you know, might want something like a treat, like a sweet, and you say no, and a child obviously has a temper tantrum. Kind of a similar thing. So obviously you need to correct that as a parent. Same thing for a horse. Obviously, the horse owner, you need to correct this behaviour before it gets out of hand. Because obviously, needless to say, if that horse was to grow up to the age of possibly at least 5, where it's most definitely in its prime, in its adulthood, and it's still doing that, then you've got serious issues. Because obviously that horse is then learned that they're the one that's in control, they're the one that dominates you, and you will move when they want you to. They are then the lead horse. They are the boss. So that's not good. Once they get into adulthood stage and they learn that, it's so hard to fix it, guys, than it is to train them from the get-go. So, you know, this is definitely the right thing to start with if a horse is playing up during feed time at a young age. You know, fix it as soon as possible, really. And if you can't do it, you know, within the first week, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Just keep at it until that horse has learned. And when it comes second nature to that horse, then obviously you don't need to keep doing it no more. Some people seem to think that they just have to keep doing it, but realistically, no, you don't. A horse obviously learns, and learns really well. My horse can learn in a couple of days, but I keep at it for at least a week until I'm certain that this has become second nature. You know, horses are a creature of habit, so once I've got into a routine, then it becomes second nature. So obviously, if that horse has learned through routine that it has to stay away when you're putting food out, it will still do that in several years' time, because it has learnt it, you know, at an early stage, and it became routine. Okay, let's carry on anyway.
Can shake all the way until she goes there, and then we'll take the cue off. So this is our cue. So it's important to leave the cue on until she's in the position we want her in. Then you take the cue off. Does that make sense? You wouldn't have to do it that way, but in this, when you're first teaching it, it's going to make more sense to her that way. Okay. Again, it's important we don't rush her here. We got to let her have a chance to. Oh, see, that was good that she came on her own. I'm going to go, great, come on over here. Good to see you. Give it a shake. Oh, you see what she's doing there? Do you see her start to go back? Good. There's a lick and chew. So I really think she just connected the dots there. She just got relief over there. And did you see her starting to back up there?
See, that really just frustrates me right there. Again, the licking and chewing, and I'm not going to carry on ragging about it, but, pardon. Obviously, he's like, oh, that connected the dots. Yeah, maybe, but it's got nothing to do with licking and chewing. She's obviously stressed, and she can't obviously fully understand the reasons. She's probably processing it in her head, no doubt, but the licking and chewing is stressful again. In fact, I will show you a couple of cues from the horse perspective where it even shows stress.
Oh, see, that was good that she came on her own. I'm going to go, great, come on over here.
So let me just wait
until she goes there, and then we'll take the cue off. So this is our cue. So it's important to leave the cue on until she's in the position we want her in. Then you take the cue off. Does that make sense?
All right, watch her. Watch her face.
To do it that way, but in this, when you're first teaching,
let me just mute the video. Just watch her face. Right, see that? See that reaction there is, I'm scared. I'm worried. What you're gonna do? She's thinking they're going to do something bad. Maybe it was because of her, because I noticed as soon as she was moving, she reacted. She's anticipating the possible punishment. You know, when he's waving the whip, she's anticipating that. So this, I don't know how well you can see it, but what she's doing with her lip, this is a sign of I'm worried. And this is stress. You know, this is a sign of worry. This is stress. So, she then moves. I also saw her flaring her nostrils. That's good. That is basically not flaring as in aggressive flaring or scared flaring. Let me just show you again. Just a moment. I'll show you what I mean, because it is easier to show you and make it more clear. Because obviously horses do different flaring on the nostrils depending on their you know, state of thought, if that makes any sense. It could have been a glitch in the video, but I could have sworn I saw, you know, twitching of the nose as soon as he moved there. It could have been a glitch, but here it might have just been the camera, because I noticed it keeps blurring here. So it might have been just the camera, but I could have sworn I saw the nostrils twitching. Right, so again, here, just before he pulls her in, yeah, it's difficult to see because he's in the way, but again, she's showing that uncertainty, that lip, you know, that is a horse saying that they're worried, that they're concerned, she's unsure, you know. So obviously she's not fully understanding what's going on, but she's processing it, she's trying to figure it out. But here, you know, this is uncertainty behavior. This is not a horse that's fully understood, but she's getting it, obviously. I'm just obviously explaining that when he's there, oh, she's licking and chewing and she's connected the dots, you know, maybe she has, but this is the influence that she's having. It's pressure and release, but this is not obviously encouraging the horse in a positive manner. She's uncertain, therefore she's getting pressure because she's afraid of what might happen, because she's already been punished, because she's already been, you know, instructed to move away. She's probably already looking at that bucket and anticipating what's going to happen next. So she's probably thinking, I don't want to come that way because I can see that bucket, and that bucket seems to mean I'm going to get hit or I'm going to get chased. So she's not fully connecting the dots, guys, even though that's what he says. She probably did figure out something when she moved back, but who's to say what she figured out and what we believe she figured out? At the end of the day, the way I see it, she was not happy to come forward. She needed a bit of encouragement. She's showing stress. She's already anticipated what's going to come. And in a way, that's a good thing, because obviously that's part of the obedience training. She needs to obviously understand that if I want you to get back to that corner when I've got my bucket, when I'm shaking my bucket, then you do so. That's what this is all about. But as I said, obviously this is an uncertain horse at the end of the day.
She's doing there. Do you see her start to go back? Good.
See, same reaction as soon as he flicks her. Same reaction. You see that lip? Same, you know, this is probably where it starts again.
Let her have a chance to. Oh, see, that was good that she came on her own. I'm going to go, great, come on over here. Good to see you. Give it a shake. Oh, you see what she's doing there.
See, that's good. Obviously, she did take a step back, so she's already figuring out, I'm not certain about this. That bucket shaking meant something before that I didn't like. So she's not coming at it. She's not obviously, you know, trying to get at it. So that's good. That is obviously something that she's learned. Even if she didn't go all the way to the back to the stall, at least she knows I need to back up a little. I can't go to that bucket. You know, that's good. But there, that reaction there, because he flicked her, is pretty much the same lip reaction she gave when she was stood here. So again, this is what you got to look for, guys. This is obviously, you know, horse language right here. People see me working with horses and they call it horse whispering, and they think I'm doing a magic show. They don't understand, you know, how I do what I do. But it is not a magic show. It's not horse whispering. It's how to understand the horse. You see this expression with the eyes, this whiteness of the eyes, the ears, This is all saying, you know, I'm scared, I am worried, you know, and this is also, in a way, to some horses, a sign of respect, because obviously he'd be the dominant horse, and he's there telling her, go back, you know, go back. And obviously she doesn't want to fight, she doesn't want to challenge him, so this is like, oh my god, you know, I better move, you know?
See her start to go back? Good. There's a lick and chew. So I really think she just connected the dots there. She just got relief over there. And did you see her starting to back up there? Pretty cool, huh? So that is the initial start of it. And I mean, you could do this. You could find a way to do this at hay time too, where you have a whistle. The grain bucket, you might not want to have that. You could use it though. It'd be a consistent cue. But where I'm going to do this, and this means you need to leave. You know, but I think you just walking in there with your energy is a fair way to ask for it out on the paddock. Okay, so let's bring her back up. So because this is a really strong pattern for Millie, we're going to have to do this a few times, make some repetitions. But as she understands it more and more, it's going to be safe for Jessica to go ahead and give it a try. Shake. Oh, she going to make it? Oh, did you see that? High five, fist bump. All right, that was...
Right, again, I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to criticize this high five, fist pump nonsense, basically because she and the child, this isn't a game. This is training. This is horsemanship. Fist pump, seriously, you know, I could appreciate if it was a child, because naturally, you know, you want to give them a sense of encouragement and whatever, but she's not a child, guys, obviously. And yeah, some people say, oh, why are you criticizing for? Why are you hating on them for? You know, they're just having a good time and he's just trying to give her a confidence boost. Yeah, whatever. You know, just, I don't know, just say, well done, whatever. You don't need to high five, fist pump, you know, whatever. It's not a freaking game, guys. This is not child's play. This is horsemanship, okay? You know, if it was a child, fair enough. But that was, you know, a little bit, in my opinion, immature, but I digress. Now, the thing that I also wanted to point out is she's shaking the bucket, but watch this. He is bringing this forward. So what is it that she's actually drawing away from? Is it him or is it her? Realistically, he should not have moved. He should not have put his hand out. He should not have moved. He is asking her to move back. So that helps in a way for her, because obviously she is listening to this and reacting to this. But what you want is no longer needing this as a cue, and only this. So he's still obviously using this to make a move. You want to get from this to this is the ideal. So when he's there, oh yeah, you see that? Yeah, you see that? He made her move. He made a move. So did we see that? I saw that. I hope you guys saw that. Maybe she didn't see that, but I certainly saw that. As a horseman, I saw that, and I'm pointing out to you guys. Putting his hand out like this is creating a draw. You know, he should not have moved. And if she didn't move, and he didn't move, that's a clue, guys, that she's not reacting to this. That she hasn't got it yet. And he'll have to keep doing it again until she does. But this is him creating a draw. This is not her with the bucket creating a draw. It'll be associated because she's shaking it, and that horse will figure out shaking the bucket means to move away. That's great, but he's still creating a draw. You need to obviously get from here to here, not just keep doing this, otherwise they can't move on. Otherwise they'll need that, you know, cue with the whip every time until you find, you know, a way to teach the horse without it.
Oh, she gonna make it? Oh, did you see that? High five, fist bump. All right.
Granted, it needed less pressure, less convincing, so she's getting it, but it's still the fact that he brought his hand out, and it looked like obviously he was telling her to move, and that was what bothered me the most. But obviously, yeah, it does seem that they didn't need to force the horse to move, didn't need to apply too much pressure, which is great. So obviously that horse has definitely learned something over this process, that they do need to move back. But he still created a draw, so...
Right, that was exciting, huh? Is that a pretty cool move? So now that she's getting the idea here, now we need to actually try going in the stall.
See, and this is another one I want to go over. Sorry, I'm obviously going over little things, and this video is probably going to be more longer than I was expecting, but whatever, obviously, I feel this is important. You know when you got horsemen, you know, that use certain words, like, isn't that cool, isn't that cool? Yeah, it may seem that way, and yeah, that's great, but again, this ain't a game, guys. You know, this is horsemanship. This is serious at the end of the day. That horse could cause serious injury to someone, you know, if they are being aggressive, if what they say is true. And in the next part of the video, you'll see what that horse actually does and what it's capable of when it actually involves feeding. Because needless to say, obviously I've already watched this, I already know what's going to come up. But I'm going to go over that in a minute. But I'm going to go over words that they use. It is to give the person, the owner, some kind of sense of security, you know. Using positive words, it's obviously influencing the owner and not the horse. And you know, people again would say, well, what's the problem? Well, I feel at times it's unnecessary. Oh, isn't that cool? Whatever is all I can say to that. Whatever. What had to be done had to be done, whether it's cool or whether it wasn't cool. You know, this isn't some kind of magic trick. You know, I get people doing that with me. They'll see me doing things. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, well, it's training, guys. There's nothing cool about it. Okay? It's training, and it's necessary, and it has to be done. This is horsemanship. This isn't a game. This isn't, you know, some child's play. This is horsemanship. Okay?
All and delivering the feed to the bucket. Now, go ahead. What I'm have you do is go ahead and shake it.
Right. So, I'm not sure whether I felt that strike was really necessary. He may have thought that she was being aggressive.
Go ahead.
Just
what
a moment.
Go ahead and shake it.
Let me just see. Right. So, he comes in. She puts her head up and moves, but he's already raising the whip. Before she's had a chance to fully move. She was already moving as soon as he stepped in. To me, this was not necessary. This was not necessary. She had already moved or started to move as soon as he stepped in. Actually, now that I think I can see the whip there. Right? So, he's put the whip in front of her. Right,
pretty cool move. So now that she's getting the idea here, now we need to actually try going in the stall and delivering the feed to the bucket. Now, go ahead. What I'm have you do is go ahead and shake it.
Right, so you see that. Right. So she moved because he created a draw. Right, he created a draw. She moves, but then he smacks her. This was not necessary, in my opinion. That was not necessary. She had already moved. I don't care if she goes to that corner. I don't care if she goes to that corner. She moved from his draw. Smacking her after is not reinforcing good behaviour. This actually tells the horse, you know, you moved, now I'm punishing you. You know, this will teach the horse that maybe I shouldn't have moved when he put that whip in front of me. Because now I've been hit. You know, they will learn from that. If you leave them alone, then obviously they'll think, oh, that's what I need to do. If you strike them, they think, oh, I did something wrong. So, again, pressure and release, understanding horse mentality, understanding horse behaviour, striking her after he asked her to move, in my opinion, was bad. Was, in my opinion, not the right way to go about it. But, whatever. That is my view on this. I don't think that was right. And then she goes to the corner, licks and chews, as he likes to say, licks and chews,
So that
whatever.
changed a little bit just because she was in a different position. She kind of learned the pattern of here and then there. So this is going to be important for you to practice several days where she's in different positions. And it doesn't matter exactly where she ends up as long as she's generally back that way.
See, exactly. And that's exactly what I said. About, it doesn't matter if she's in this corner or if she's in this corner, as long as she's moved. So why did he find it necessary to come in and strike shortly after he asked her to move? She moved, but he struck her. Yeah, I might do a recording video of this and actually post this on YouTube later on, because obviously I feel that this is something, and I'm not cracking on him, guys. I don't know who this guy is, and you know what? I'm probably going to get the same reputation as that guy who thinks like a horse, because some people love him and some people hate him, because he's obviously pointing out what is wrong with, you know, certain methods and certain horsemanship, and even certain people who are owners when it comes to problematic horses, when it comes to having issues with a horse. Sometimes people don't realise that they're causing the problem, because they obviously aren't, well, connecting the dots themselves. They are not thinking like a horse. The way I see it, when he asked her to move and then he struck her, if you had to think from the horse's perspective, the horse is going to wonder whether it did something wrong. Why have I been hit? He created a draw and I moved, but then I was hit. Should I have not have moved? Was that wrong? So that horse might learn, well, then next time I won't move because I don't want to be hit. So he's already taught her something bad. In fact, you know, if she doesn't learn from that one experience, then great. But, you know, this is not something that you want to enforce, because you're teaching something wrong to the horse.
That is the part that matters more. And so, here. So we've shaken it. I'm going to come in and go to feed. Keeping my eye on her.
Alright, again, I'll have to say this, and then I might need to AFK for 2 minutes, guys, because I actually do need to use the bathroom. But I'm going to quickly mention this. If you noticed, while he was going towards the bucket, yes, she was looking, yes, she was considering whether or not. So yeah, I'm going to mute this, guys, because obviously this is me talking. You don't need to listen to him right now. As he comes in, she's looking, she's thinking about it. You know, she moves a little. He shakes the bucket. She reacts to the shake. She's knowing what's going to come. She's anticipating. She's not obviously coming in at him. So, but then he makes a move. I'm not sure how I feel about that either. She did not come at him. She's not moved. He even said a few moments ago, it does not matter whether she's here, whether she's here. As long as she's at the back of the stall, then she's doing what he wants. So why does he have to poke and prod and make her go back to that corner? She's obviously using this corner now as her relief. You know, it's like when you got a naughty corner for a child. Get to your corner. This is what she's doing. You know, she's obviously going to that corner. You see, she's literally got her head in that corner because she's now learned that this is her safe zone. And in a way, that's not a bad thing, but he's already explained a few moments ago, doesn't matter where she is at the back of the stall as long as she stays at the back of the stall. So is it necessary to, you know, poke and prod when she's doing as he wants her to? No, it's not. Is it a bad thing? Not necessarily. It's great that the horse has found something to associate with, like the corner, but it's not really necessary as long as they're doing as you wish them to, which is to stay out of the way. That's the ideal. Obviously, this can create stress. This can make the horse feel insecure. And in fact, if you was to make a horse get trapped in a corner, even if they might seek it out as a relief point, and you're going past the horse, from the rear, you're more likely to get kicked, because then you're making the horse, feel claustrophobic, feel boxed in. You should give the horse a little bit of space. It should be allowed to use this area. It's a big animal at the end of the day. Confining it to a corner like this can actually cause more problems than it's worth. So I don't think this is completely necessary. And I'll be right back, guys. As I said, I need to use the bathroom. So just give me one moment. I don't know how to set up Be Right Back on this streaming software yet. I need to still create scenes for that. But yeah, I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back, and I've just noticed I don't think you guys can actually see where I'm actually placing the cursor on my screen, which is not very helpful, because obviously I've been waving it around and showing you, what I'm pointing out, what I'm talking about. I can't even see my cursor at the moment on the stream, so I am uncertain whether you guys can actually even see what I'm talking about. This is something that I might actually need to look into for future streams and videos, because obviously I need to use a pointer to show you what I'm talking about. But I hope maybe that you obviously understood when I'm talking and I'm explaining. Again, I don't even know, guys, if anyone's paying attention to this. I hope someone was paying attention to this, because needless to say, it is 10 to 10 in the morning for me, and for some people that's early, but for me, it's starting to get late. I'm supposed to be down at the horses soon. I don't mind doing this, but obviously I anticipated an hour. I can't believe it's actually been... What time has it been? How long have I been streaming? I can't even see what time I've been streaming. That's helpful. See, I'm still new to this program. OBS it's called. I have no idea how to use it, to be honest. I've been using Sorry, I'm obviously digressing. I'm talking about completely different things now. But I've been using a different program for Twitch, so I'm still new to this, and sometimes I don't know how to use it. So anyway, sorry, I digress, and I'm obviously talking about something different, completely unrelated. So we're going to carry on. I'm going to try and get this done in the next 10 minutes because I really should be focusing on the time and obviously getting things done. But I'm going to try and get this done in the next 10 minutes. And yeah, hopefully someone's been watching and learning from this. I hope that it wasn't a complete waste of my time, to be quite fair. Okay, so we have no volume. Okay, sorry.
So now I'm asking her to stay there while I dump the feed. Just gave her a little bit of feed. Now I'm going to retreat out. I'm going to let her eat. Now we're going to...
Hey, this makes me laugh. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh because obviously it is wrong, but at the same time, it's an obvious, reaction here. She didn't move as soon as he was shaking that bucket because she's too focused on the food,
Now we're going to...
She's too... Sorry, I'm going to mute again because obviously, I'm talking. But yeah, obviously she's too focused on the food. So, him shaking that bucket... Unfortunately, she does not react to it, which of course then he has to apply some kind of pressure. But then, of course, she reacts with her own, back off, I'm trying to eat. But then he gets a little bit aggressive here, and again, I don't know whether I consider this unnecessary. It's just when the horsemen, apply too much pressure and, be abusive like this, which is what I consider it to be. Then there's a fine line, drawn between teaching and being overly assertive. Obviously, this... Right, that was obviously... where was it? Where was the part where he was feeding... I can't even find the part where he was feeding. I think it was here. Yeah, this was the part where he gave her food. She goes to food. He asks her to move. Well, he will in a minute. He starts shaking the bucket. She's not reacting. He then asks her to move with the whip. Naturally, because he's raised it, she's kicked out. So she's reacting to that because that's aggression. So she feels a need to protect herself. That's the natural reaction to the horse. Obviously, this is not a good thing for a person if you ever get kicked. But to be fair, horses are basically doing this to say, hey, get out of my space. Back off and leave me alone. This is not horses trying to kick you. Most of the time, they're not trying to actually hurt each other. But they do know that this is pressure. That this is making you feel them. So they will use it as a tool to defend themselves. So, and this... Maybe that was necessary to get her to turn, but again, I feel that was a little bit too aggressive, too assertive. She's now in the corner. I feel that this was a fine line between overly assertive and necessary. But whatever, I digress. Thing that does bother me even more...
That was really unfortunate that I missed. Because that would have been...
Yeah, when he said I was reinforcing, but I missed. No... It doesn't matter, guys, if you strike the horse or if you, wave your freaking hands around, flail your flag around, use your whip, whatever. If that horse has moved because of what your actions are obviously signaling, that's it. That's all you need. You don't need to apply any physical interaction. You don't need to hit the horse, guys. Okay? So even they're saying, he wanted to actually get in contact with the horse. I'm going to obviously unmute so you can hear him say it.
Oh, there we go. Still a little bit of... That was really unfortunate that I missed.
That was really unfortunate that I missed. Really? No, it was not. I'm sorry to say, no, it was not unfortunate that he missed. In fact, it was very fortunate that he didn't miss. You know, it's not necessary, guys. So, you know, a little bit over aggressive, over assertive. Unfortunately, I can't condone why horsemen do this. You know, unfortunately, I do not agree to it. So, I will obviously defend the horse and preach about it because I don't condone it. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm probably very much like this. I forget his name now. Rick, who does Think Like a Horse. Because you know, I'm, I guess, in a way, an activist. You know, I will be advocating for horses when I feel that is something unnecessary and wrong. And this is where people are learning in the horse world how to mistreat a horse. And I can't condone it. I'm not trying to say that I think he's a bad horseman. I don't think he's even a bad person. You know, he's doing what he feels is necessary and what he feels is right. That doesn't make him a bad person. It doesn't make him wrong. I just feel that maybe too much being assertive, too much aggression, you know, it can lead down a very dark path, guys. You know, people learn from this and they think that, you know, this is necessary and that they should be doing it. And then even when you try to tell people, you know, that this is not the right way to go about it, they want to argue with you and say, well, this guy does it. You know, this guy knows what he's doing. You know, so apparently I'm not entitled to my opinion. You know, I'm not entitled to say what I think because this guy does it. What makes him so special? You know, I'm a horseman too. What makes him so special? What makes him above me? What, because I don't agree with his methods? You know, it's ridiculous. Because people have been doing this all their lives. And what makes me laugh is then they come to people like myself because they want help. But you can't tell them. So what's the point? I hope that someone is paying attention to this video. I really do. And they learn from this. Learn from what I'm saying. Not just learn from what they're doing, but from what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say don't train the horse. I'm not trying to say that teaching the horse to stay away when you're trying to put feed in is wrong. But being overly assertive, guys, is wrong, in my opinion. Being overly aggressive is wrong, in my opinion. And I'm going to emphasize on that, because everyone's got their own opinions and form a different state of view. You either respect and appreciate what I say, or you don't. And that's up to you. You form your own opinions, you know? But if you're going to watch my videos, you're going to listen to what I say, then I would like to think that perhaps it's because you appreciate what I've got to say. And I'm not just doing this to crack on at people. I'm doing this for the same reason that Rick does it. Because I want to help the horse community, the horse society, people like yourselves, understand that, you know, the horsemanship has become far too aggressive, far too assertive. People are learning these mistakes. And as Rick likes to say, and I end quote, you set a horse to fail when you are overly assertive, when you are overly aggressive, when that horse reacts in a negative way, when it's not necessary, and that horse then learns, you know, that they need to protect themselves, that they need to start becoming aggressive towards you because you're giving them mixed impressions and you're being too assertive and aggressive yourself. This is not, in my opinion, the right way to train a horse.
Because that would have been a good time to correct her.
See that she's not certain. Right, again, I'm not going to get this video done, guys, before 10 o'clock. It's probably already 10. Yeah, it's already gone 10 o'clock, but whatever. I am going to probably bring this till the end of the barn scene. I'm not going to do this sand school scene because it's going to take me too long. And in fact, I don't even know what they do in that part because I was mostly reflecting on this because this is what it's all about. I feel, you know, from here up to here, this is all you really needed to see because this was the behaviour that they're trying to correct. Perhaps they brought it into the sand school to obviously do some groundwork training and obviously assert leadership and dominance. This is obviously necessary for a young horse to learn respect and obedience, is to obviously do some groundwork training as well as. So perhaps that's why they did that. And I guess it was just a way to close the video, you know, just for something to show, perhaps in a more positive light maybe, you know, maybe the horse is good with ground training, who knows. But this is the main key important part of the video, is her behaviour during feed time in the stall. So obviously this is... Anyway, sorry, I digress. I wanted to get to the point where he was coming in here. And of course, you know, she's looking at him. She's not certain. Are you giving me feed? Can I come? She tries to move, but then he corrects her. And it makes me laugh here is he backs away. He backs out. As soon as she turns that rear, he backs out. You know, and this is, again, teaching a horse a bad thing. Because now she has learned that I can make you get out. I can make you move. I'm going to use my rear. I am no longer going to try and obviously use my head. I'll use my rear. You know, she obviously turned back. Because as soon as she got what she wanted, you know, obviously she's now facing him. And this with her head, I wish you could see where my cursor is. I hope you can. This with her head, not here, sorry. Here, this part. Obviously I'm pausing it at the wrong moment. Right. As soon as he flicks and she turns, right, about here. Right, you see this? Pinning the ears. Here. Ugh, I missed it again. But pinning the ears. That's a sign of aggression, guys. You know, that's her sign of aggression. So now she's just made him leave the stall. She would have learned that. You know? And it makes me laugh. Well, obviously... Oh dear, I've gone right back to the beginning. That's not very helpful. Yeah, we're back to that scene. So... You know, watch what she does. Pins her ears. You know, stares at him. Now she's being aggressive. But then the question is, who provokes who? Obviously, she goes... Right. Just bear with me. Alright, so she goes over to that corner. You know what she's doing there? She's checking for food. She's checking to see if he's left her any food. Now, what he could have done is just left her alone. And let her learn on her own that, well, there's no food. I didn't get anything. You know, I'm not going to get anything if I'm going to be aggressive. That would have been a good lesson. But instead, he then goes to strike. Which I think, again, is wrong. And the backing away, again, is not a good idea. You know, he's doing it, but he's backing away. And some people say, oh, but it's dangerous. Oh, but she's kicking out. Oh, but you'll get hurt. Well, yeah, fair enough. You know, you can get hurt in the horse world. You know, it's horses, guys, you know. And I'm not saying put yourself at, you know, harm's way. But backing off like this, reaching out like this is not showing a sign of confidence. You know, and that horse is learning. This horse is learning that it can, you know, kick out and make you move. And the more you keep doing it, the more she'll kick out. She'll kick out every time. Fortunately, she eventually learns, I can't win. I'll go to the corner where I'm safe. But I didn't even feel that was necessary. She could have gone to that corner, and, you know, she probably would have been a bit confused. You know, she probably would have even turned to look at him. But then he could have shook his bucket, and if she didn't back off, then start asking her to move. But he didn't have to hit her. You know, that was not in my opinion, necessary. So he's teaching her aggression, guys. You know, he's teaching her bad behaviour, even if he doesn't realise it. So, you know, this is not necessary. And this is why I'm doing this video. Because I'm hoping that somebody will learn, you know, despite the idea of this, despite how good the teaching is, for the horse to learn, to stay away, to go to the back of the stall. This is all great horsemanship, but there are faults. And people need to learn from those faults. We as people can learn from our flaws and constructive criticism. That's what this is. I'm not having a go. I don't know this guy. I don't even know his name. In fact, I think he announced it at the beginning. I don't even know his name. Not cracking on at him. You know, I'm just pointing out where I feel that this may be the wrong method. And I think we're near to the end of the video, because I'm sure from this point he actually does stop.
So that's like a little bit of leftover from the pattern that was there before. So we're going to teach her a new pattern, but we still have a little bit of residual after using that pattern.
See, and that's another thing that makes me laugh. Well, that's from the original pattern, and now we're teaching a new pattern. Yeah, well, the new pattern, obviously, is that he wants her to not, what was I going to say? Not to be aggressive and kick it out. But, obviously, she's already learned something. You can't just go from A to C. Obviously, you need to be A, B, C. So, obviously, you need to have a transition from what she's learned at A to go to B to go to C, if that makes any sense. So we're at A, where she's learned stay in the corner, stay away, but she's still looking for, you know, can she come in when he's putting feed in? He needs to teach her, you must wait until I leave. That's probably the idea. But obviously, you know, he could have used his cue from A to go through B to get to C. And naturally, okay, she didn't move when he shook the bucket when she was eating. But to me, perhaps he could have waited, guys. Perhaps he should have waited until she finished. You know, give her time and space, because obviously she's not going to listen. She's eating. Do you want to listen when you're eating? You know, you don't want to be disturbed when you're eating, and you're thinking, you know, screw that, I'm not moving. I'm eating. So give her that time and chance to, you know, have her moment, and then ask her to move. I feel that the way he did it was, yeah, just not right. I understand his ideas. I get what he's doing, but it just wasn't very well executed, in my opinion. And again, I emphasize on my opinion, guys. You know, don't start with the, oh, you think you know everything, and, you know, you think you're above this guy. No, I don't. You know, as far as I'm concerned, we're on the same level. And he has his methods, I have mine. But I don't feel that this was the right way to go about it. And I will voice my opinion. Because I feel that this could cause issues further down the line. And I feel that maybe people need to learn, you know, where the mistakes were. Rather than just look at it and think, oh, this is great. This is great horsemanship. to a degree at least, yes it is. You know, very good horsemanship. He's got the idea. He's obviously demonstrating the idea, which is great. But it was not very well executed. And he's supposed to be the horseman. He's supposed to be the one, you know, giving the influence on people and showing them what you're supposed to do. And I feel that this was not very well executed, in my opinion.
And so once she's committed to standing there, then the person can come in and feed. And we need to...
See, and some people will say, well, she's learned. Like, they actually cut this out where obviously he was correcting her. He started with a clip of him talking before they showed this scene. So who knows, guys, how many times he had to correct her to get to this stage. They probably cut the video because they didn't want to show him asserting his aggression, because people don't like that kind of thing. They're like, oh, poor horse, you know, what a mean guy. And at the end of the day, it's you know, it's something that I feel I don't even know whether I argue against it or not. It depends on how he did it. If I could see what he did, you know, then of course I can comment on it. When I watched him, obviously, and I did see what he did, and I did obviously correct it to say that was overly assertive, then naturally I can reflect on that. I obviously didn't see what he did from there to here, but that horse has learned, so okay, kudos to him. But who knows what it took for him to get to this stage.
Expect her to stand there. See, I caught it early. See, she was less committed.
See, and that was better. That was better in my opinion. Because obviously, you know, he didn't strike her. He just raised his stick to say, you know, get back. You know, you could even raise your hand, you know, back off, whatever. I do that with my horses. If I don't want them to move, I'm like, get back. And I'll put my hand up. I don't use a stick. You can use a stick. I'm not saying you shouldn't use a stick, but I don't use a stick. But that was a lot better.
And we need to expect her to stand there.
That was a lot better. Look, see? That was better than, in my opinion, striking. It's not always necessary. It's most of the time it's not necessary to strike a horse. And that's where you start to question what's being abusive and what's teaching. So it is not necessary. And he's demonstrated that was good horsemanship right there. He demonstrated, you know, that it wasn't necessary, even though he probably hasn't even realized it. Between striking and not striking, you know, that he actually showed a demonstration of, in my opinion, not good horsemanship to this is perfect, in my opinion. You know, it was a quick pressure and release. It was not aggressive. He did not hit the horse, but he used the tool to ask her to move, and sometimes you have to. You know, if it's necessary, it's necessary, but I felt the striking was not necessary, guys, so... I think we're pretty much over with this video.
That sent her nose over there. Isn't that interesting? Very good. So I think that's probably a good place to finish with her for this. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the halter back on her. We're going to work with her a little bit in the arena.
Right,
and,
so I'm going to end it there, guys, because obviously that's what I wanted to comment on. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go because, obviously, as I said, I got things to do. I am definitely running later than I expected, but I do appreciate the views. If anyone's been viewing this, if anyone's learned from this, great. That is what I want. Obviously, this is what I'm doing. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you learned something, you know, and thank you for joining. Have a good day now.